On June 8th, 2021, at 9:47 in the morning, the New York Times went dark, Reddit went offline, Amazon, Twitch, The Guardian, gov.uk, the UK government's official website, all of them gone in under a minute. It wasn't a cyber attack, it wasn't a solar flare, nobody cut an undersea cable. One company, a CDN provider called Fastly, pushed a software update that triggered a single misconfiguration. And within 49 seconds, 84% of their network returned errors. Here's the part that should make your brain itch. The servers were fine. Every single web server for the New York Times, for Reddit, for Amazon, all of them were online, responding, ready to serve traffic. But nobody could reach them because of something called DNS. DNS is the system that turns words, like reddit.com, into the actual address your computer needs to find a server. And when DNS breaks, the internet appears to collapse, even when the underlying infrastructure is completely fine. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on DNS, how it works, why it's secretly one of the most important systems in tech, and why it's also one of the most dangerous. Let's get into it. Open your browser right now. Type in github.com. Hit enter. In the next 200 milliseconds, your device is going to have a conversation with 4 different servers in 4 different parts of the world, and you're going to notice absolutely none of it. Your computer doesn't think in words, it thinks in numbers. Every device on the internet has an IP address, a string of digits, like 148.2.114. That's where GitHub actually lives. But nobody types that into their browser. You type github.com. And so every single time you visit a website, your device has to translate that human-readable name into a machine-readable number. That translation system is the domain name system. DNS. Think of it like a phone book, except it covers every website in existence. It's updated in real time, and it responds faster than you can blink. But unlike a phone book, DNS isn't a single database sitting somewhere. It's distributed across millions of servers around the world. And a lookup doesn't just hit one server, it hits 4. Step 1, your resolver. When you type in a URL, your device sends a query to a DNS resolver. This is usually run by your internet provider, or by Google or Cloudflare if you've changed your settings. The resolver is your agent. It goes out and finds the answer on your behalf. First, it checks its cache. If you visited GitHub an hour ago, it might already know the answer. Step 2, the root name server. The resolver sends your query up to a root name server. There are only 13 root name server addresses in the entire world, operated by organizations like ICANN, NASA, and VeriSign. But they don't know where github.com is. What they do know is who's in charge of .com domains, and they point the resolver there. Step 3, the TLD name server. TLD stands for top-level domain. VeriSign runs the .com name servers. They don't know GitHub's IP address either, but they know exactly which name servers are authoritative for github.com specifically. Step 4, the authoritative name server. This is the source of truth. GitHub controls these servers. They hold the actual records, including the A record that maps github.com to its IP address. The resolver gets that answer, hands it back to your browser, and your browser connects. That entire chain, 4 servers, potentially across 3 continents, completes in 20 to 120 milliseconds on average. The internet is astonishing. Now here's something that most people, including most people who work in tech, never think about. Every single website you visit generates a DNS query. And by default, those queries travel across the internet in plain text. Plain text means anyone listening on the network can read it. Your internet provider's resolver sees every domain name you look up. Every single one. That means your ISP has a pretty complete picture of your browsing habits. So does the operator of any public Wi-Fi network you join. In many countries, ISPs are legally required to retain this data. In the US, ISPs can sell anonymized browsing data to advertisers. The fix exists. It's called DNS over HTTPS and DNS over TLS. Both encrypt your DNS queries so they can't be read in transit. Cloudflare's 1.1.1 resolver supports both. Firefox enables it by default. Chrome added it in 2020. A VPN routes your DNS queries through an encrypted tunnel, cutting your ISP out of the loop entirely. Though now you're trusting the VPN provider instead of your ISP. So choose carefully. Back to June 8th, 2021. When Fastly's misconfiguration hit, their DNS routes stopped responding correctly. Resolvers around the world couldn't get valid answers for the domains Fastly was serving. And so, from the user's perspective, those websites simply didn't exist. The fix took 40 seconds to implement once engineers identified it. But the recovery, waiting for caches to expire and propagate globally, that took the better part of an hour. DNS outages are uniquely brutal because they're invisible to the server. Your web server is running fine. Your application is healthy. But DNS is broken, so no traffic ever arrives. You look at your monitoring dashboards and see nothing, because nothing is even trying to connect. But outages aren't the scariest thing that can happen to DNS. In April 2018, attackers pulled off something more sinister. They hijacked the BGP routes. That's the system that controls how traffic flows between internet providers for Amazon's Route 53 DNS service. For about 2 hours, anyone trying to visit a cryptocurrency wallet site called MyEtherWallet got redirected, without knowing it, to a phishing server in Russia. The attackers walked away with approximately $150,000 in cryptocurrency. Here's what makes this attack so elegant and so disturbing. MyEtherWallet's actual servers were never compromised. The site itself was fine. The attackers didn't hack DNS directly. They manipulated the routing layer underneath DNS and redirected the traffic before it ever reached the legitimate resolver. DNS was designed in 1983. The internet at that time was a small academic network, a few hundred machines at universities and research labs, all of them trusted participants. Security wasn't a design priority because everyone on the network was supposed to be trustworthy. That era is long gone. But DNS is still running largely on those same trust-based foundations. The solution that exists is called DNSSEC. DNS security extensions. It adds cryptographic signatures to DNS records, so resolvers can verify that the answer they got came from the real authoritative name server and wasn't tampered with. The catch? As of 2020, only about 31% of domains have DNSSEC enabled. The internet is enormous, old, and very hard to upgrade. DNS is the system that makes the internet feel seamless. It's the reason you can type a word and instantly reach a server anywhere on Earth. But it's also one of the most sensitive pressure points in modern infrastructure. One misconfiguration brings down 1,000 websites. One BGP hijack diverts cryptocurrency to a phishing server in Moscow. And every lookup you make, by default, is visible to your internet provider. Here's what you can actually do with this. Number 1, consider switching your DNS resolver to Cloudflare 1.111 or Google 8.8.8.8. Both are faster than most ISP resolvers and support encrypted DNS. Number 2, if privacy matters to you, look for a VPN that explicitly does not log DNS queries. Not all of them have the same policies. Number 3, if you run a website or own a domain, check whether DNSSEC is enabled. Your domain registrar likely has a one-click option. 69% of the internet hasn't done this yet. And that's DNS, one of the oldest, most important, and most underappreciated systems on the internet. Next up, we're going to pull back even further and look at how the internet itself actually routes the traffic from point A to point B using a protocol called BGP that is somehow simultaneously holding everything together and being exploited by nation-states. That video is going to break your brain. If you found this useful, or if something surprised you, drop it in the comments. I read everything. Subscribe if you want the next one. We publish every week, and we're just getting started. See you next time.